You've reached the CEO Hotline. This is Krystal Jugarap, business mentor, visibility strategist, community builder, and your new favorite person to have on speed dial. Because you and I both know you are done playing small. This line is for wildly ambitious women founders who are ready to stop winging it and start running their business like a true CEO. We're talking raw, unfiltered strategy, real case studies, and some seriously ceiling-shattering powerhouse CEOs dropping in on the line. So stay on, because this call, it's about to change your business. Don't hang up.
All right. Welcome back, everyone, to the CEO Hotline. This is one of our live case studies where we bring on a badass CEO to join us on the line and to do a deep dive into everything that they've had to do to reach the success that they've reached. And today, I'm so excited to have our special guest, Ati Grinspun, who is an acclaimed personal branding and business coach dedicated to empowering female entrepreneurs to their first 100K year and beyond. Okay, we don't have limits here. We do not ourselves here. With her infectious energy, she simplifies the complexities of online and offline visibility, making it both manageable and fun. If you guys don't know Ati, she is a whole lot of fun. You are about to get a taste of her magic in this episode. And as the visionary founder of BU Brands Movement, Academy, and book series, she's on a mission to catapult women to new heights in their fields. You guys are really in for a treat. Ati, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, my friend. Thank you for the amazing introduction.
I am so excited to dive into this conversation because, first of all, I just love you and I love the energy that you bring to the table and I love everything that you're doing. And I also love that I feel like you and I were so similar, but also so different in so many ways. But
Yes.
career-wise, brand-wise, we're kind of on the same trajectory of we host very similar summits. We build community. We are visibility strategists at heart. And I'm so excited to dive into all of the nitty gritty of how you have managed to take all of the flair and the bottle tossing of your previous show bartender days and turn it into a multi-six-figure brand that you are now leading so beautifully today. And you also have your conference coming up as well in September, which we're going to dive into. But is there anything really quick that you want people to know just off the jump about who you are and what it is that you offer through the BU Brands enterprise?
So I think that the biggest thing is, for me, branding is the mark that you leave in the world, right? So I think that when I am coaching women to be more visible, to truly put themselves out there, to talk about their business, is yes, there is of course a strategy that both of us teach, but the main thing is how do you become more of who you are? And how do you actually step into that vision that you have for yourself that looks like it's almost on the other side of a glass, right? Like, it's there, that you can do all the things, you see other people doing it. And I think for me, it all comes down to my own story. When I quit that job that you were describing, and I was so confident and I was like, I'm going to quit my job. I was already making really good money. So I was like, oh, I'm going to make six figures on the first year. And then I'm just going to go and make my first million. And then I literally sat on my desk, which used to be over there, and I started spiraling. And I didn't know what to do, how to communicate my value, even though I was already successful. So it's not just the strategy, it's who you become. And that is the work that I do with my clients.
I want to take a pause and ask you a really quick question. Are you still building your business in isolation? Listen, you do not have to do that anymore, okay? I built Horolo, our women's entrepreneurial community, because I knew I didn't want to go into business alone, and I'm tired of seeing other women entrepreneurs still building their business alone. This is a community based on real connection, real resource sharing, and a network of women who actually want to see you win. We're not just here for the superficial follows online and the surface level conversations. We have virtual workshops, mastermind calls, a members only platform, and we also host in person events here in the Bay Area, and we're continuing to expand across the US every month. If you're ready to stop building solo and start surrounding yourself with people who get it, then join us at herolo.com/apply. That's HERROLO.com/apply. That link is also going to be in the show notes. Okay, let's get back into it.
Okay, so this is really interesting. And I really do want to start at the beginning stages of you starting to position yourself as this branding expert. Because yes, you may have already been successful in your previous career, but it's something that I see over and over and over again where women find themselves in that position, but struggle so much to detach their identity from that, from what their previous title was, and to start forming a new identity of who they want to become. And they know the potential is there. They know they're
Yeah.
capable of so much. They know there's so much more to life. But how do they actually get there? How do they start redefining themselves in a
So
whole new role?
what is so interesting about that question is I didn't even understand the concept of identity until later on. So when I describe like truly sitting in my desk and spiraling and all of these things, I was in the very beginning also of my own personal growth journey. So for anybody that has a business, that if you're in the beginning stages, buckle up, right? Because like business is the biggest personal growth school in the world. Like everybody has heard that. And that is because it will require you to do new things. It will require you to put yourself in situations that you've never been. It will require you a level of awareness that most likely you never had because you didn't have to lead yourself. You always had a boss that told you what to do. You had a teacher, you had your parents, you showed up to a job, you were measured by somebody else's standards of success of whatever that was. So for me, I was a bartender, but like for other people, that might be a career in corporate. Right.
Mhm.
But now all of a sudden you start your business, and for 99% of us, especially if you're following you and me, we are a personal brand, we are the face of our business. And now you need to start putting your opinions, your what you think, your skills, and everything has literally the proof of you. Right. So
Mhm.
now you actually have to back yourself up. You cannot
Mhm.
say, oh, my boss told me that, or, oh, they hire me because I'm good. No, you have to vouch for you.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'm currently running a 60-day challenge. We're only in day 4, but this is already the conversations that we're having behind the scenes of how you need to hold yourself accountable. And it's interesting, this conversation, because normally when you're in corporate, it's almost like you are very cautious about the way that you present yourself, about the way that you speak to, especially like the higher ups, the people around you, the ideas you're sharing on the table. And then all of a sudden, when you are now finding yourself as a founder and as someone that is positioning yourself as an authority in a specific niche, you have to show up so much more unfiltered than you ever have before to be able to say, okay, now I'm really going to say what's been on my mind
Yeah.
is such a transition. Okay. So previously you said, oh, go ahead. I see you
Go,
got
go, go, go,
something
go, go.
I
I
was
think
going to
you're
ask
coming. You're coming with that
transitional
question.
conversation.
I think
Okay.
you're coming with a question that it's in my mouth.
Okay, we can come back to it definitely if I'm going in a different direction than you were hoping for. But you mentioned how, you had already proven your success. You already had the evidence. You already had that narrative there. And you're thinking, okay, I'm going to launch a business. I'm going to hit my first 6-figure year. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be rainbows and butterflies. And then you found yourself spiraling. So
Yeah.
what did your first year actually look like?
So, okay, so I quit my job December 2018, and I had been, okay, so I have to give you a little bit of background because I think that this is important. My first business was at 19. I had a bartending school in Argentina. I think I told you this before. While I lived in Las Vegas and I achieved all the success as a flair bartender or whatever, like, I was traveling, I was doing all the things, but like my husband and I, we started investing in real estate very, very early on. So we had, the entrepreneurial mindset, but it wasn't until I started kind of this iteration of the journey that my face was on it, that it didn't feel scary. And you would think like, we were investing in real estate, we were buying property, but it didn't matter because it wasn't my face. So you could do about investment, and we have done some, right? But you are losing money.
Yeah.
But when you are the face of your brand, and this is what I experienced. So I quit my job December 2018. 2019 was the darkest night, like death of my soul. I had such an ego death. And I made $20,000 in the full year.
I remember you telling me about this. I was trying to remember what that number was.
Yes.
$20,000 for the year.
This was excruciating. I was making anywhere between 130 and 150 bartending, plus my investments, plus shows that I was doing. So I was already pulling really good money with something that was really low commitment, if you want to call it. I mean, I had responsibilities, but so I changed into this industry where now I was the motor behind getting clients. And my business actually kind of went like this. I started with personal branding photography. And that's when I started working with women. And I started realizing that, number one, I knew a lot more than I thought I knew. I really had a passion for helping women. I really had a passion for branding, which I've been doing my whole life without knowing it. It's a different story, but we can get into that a little bit later. But the biggest thing was I really found myself in a place of true despair. I didn't feel adequate. I was crying almost every day. I had no idea how to actually really bring me and my personality. And this that you see, this is me. This is who I was behind the bar. This is this personality that you see now. I always been this person. But that year was just so, so dark. And what started being really obvious to me, it was how much my confidence and my success was attached to all of the titles that I brought, right? From being a world champion, from already being validated by other people, from all of these things. And I was like, how are these other people doing this?
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I don't know how they're doing it, but I'm going to figure out.
Ugh, so good. And I think even just like the thought alone of knowing that you were at the top of your game in this other area of your life and now repositioning yourself as a newbie or a beginner, that in and of itself is challenging.
It was, I remember, I was in a membership kind of coaching program, and this was the first coach I ever hired. And she asked me something, and I answered, yes, but blah, 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 blah. And then she asked me something else, and I was like, yes, but blah, 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 blah. And she stopped me and she was like, you are fighting for your limitations. And that moment changed so much for me. Because number one, right there in the moment, I didn't quite understand what she meant.
Yeah.
But I knew there was something when she told me you're fighting for your limitations. And I was like, what? First, I was offended, completely offended. I was like, oh, which now I coach people and I totally understand what they're going through, right? But she was like, the last 3 questions I ask you, you said yes, but literally it's like you telling me, yeah, whatever, right? So that was an awakening for me. And I talk about this in so many stories because that one moment with that coach changed so much for me. It was one conversation over Zoom before even the pandemic happened, which we need to get into that. So that was a first awakening to, oh, I don't think this is just a skills problem. So this is the piece of awareness that I'm talking about.
And this is why I am constantly reiterating how important mentorship, being in the right communities, putting yourselves in the right rooms is so game changing, because you are allowing other eyes to help you spot your gaps, to recognize where you are fighting for those limitations, where you are selling yourself short, where you are always constantly trying to over explain yourself. I see this with women so much, and it
So
kills me.
much, so
Having
much.
to constantly trying to justify everything when I never needed the justification. Girl, claim your power. Like, tell me how amazing you are. Don't explain why you're amazing. Tell me
So
that you're amazing so I can buy into you.
for me, the awakening came when I was like, okay, what did I do to actually get where I was? Because remember, I was a world champion flair bartender. So even though, right, still it's bartending, like it require a type of training and practice and audacity and also discipline that is literally just like years later I was doing triathlon. So and it required the same. And when she told me that, something opened in my brain, like literally broke open. And I
Uh-huh.
was like, oh my God. Like I am here being like kind of pity for myself. And I'm like, right? Like I didn't understand. And that moment is when kind of like the thread started going. And I was like, I one of the things that I wrote in my journal was because obviously I'm married and I have my husband, like we have a really nice living. And I was like, if I didn't have a husband and I didn't have anything to lean on, how would I actually build this business?
Mm-hmm.
And that changed it all.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
from that moment on, I started looking at numbers in a different way. I started looking at my business in a different way. I started looking because it's not about the effort. Because again, CEO Hotline, one of the things that was very clear to me is I was really good at doing,
Yeah.
right? I could practice for many hours. I could go run for 2 hours. I could ride my bike for 4 hours. So it wasn't until I started really realizing, okay, it's about doing the right things. It's about being in the right rooms. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just about doing.
Mm-hmm. We were literally having this conversation in the Summer Proof Challenge. There is such a difference between being busy and being productive. One of the girls was sharing like her day. I had the women in the group do a little time audit, and she was like, "Oh yeah, my time is being accounted for. I feel like I'm rating myself pretty highly." And I really challenged them to say, "Okay, but of that time you're showing up, what are you actually working on?" Because there is this fine distinction between doing and strategically executing towards the things that actually matter, towards what's actually going to move your business forward in the direction you want it to go, right? Not to just say that you've checked another thing off the box.
And I think the problem with that, and this was probably the hardest. So you love going into what it takes, right? And
Mhm.
one of the things for me was because I had a job that it was all about doing. I was so good about getting to my job, being amazing, right? I knew how to work a crowd. I was doing a show. Then, like in triathlon, I was so fucking good. Like, give me the plan. I'm gonna follow it. And a lot of my worth was not only attached to the doing, but to endurance. To I
Mhm.
can you know, have you ever like read the saying that says it's hard to beat somebody that won't quit or something like that? Or like, and it's all good and games until you realize that's not the game,
Mhm.
right? So for me, one of the hardest parts was actually sitting in my computer and doing things that were moving the needle forward, that
Yeah.
were actually the cash lane. I call it even still in my business. Okay, are you working in the cash lane? Right? Or because even
Mm.
visibility, without you understanding what your cash lane is, before
Mm-hmm.
and after an
Yeah.
event, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you gonna do? How are you going to like use this event to move revenue or to build more relationships that can give you revenue? I talk a lot about, instead of like thinking about who is your next client, who is the person that can introduce you to 100 clients.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so let's go ahead and start talking about like the difference between now and then. Early on, how are you landing your first clients?
So, okay, so just for context, I was doing personal branding photography.
Hmm.
So something that I started doing very early on was networking.
Okay.
And once I kind of started getting myself out of that hole, which we can go a little bit into, fear of being seen, fear of putting yourself out there, fear of rejection, fear of success, right? But one of the things that I did very early on was I started to bring my camera to any event that I would go. And this was something that it happened kind of by accident. Like one time I had a shoot after one of these events. And so I didn't want to leave my camera in the car. So I brought the camera, my bag with the camera. And the lady from the event was like, "Oh, why don't you take some photos? I'll post them on the Facebook group." And that very first time I got, like, I think 2 or 3 clients just because I was taking photos at the event
Mhm.
for free. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this again. So the next
Uh-huh.
time I went to a networking event, I actually teach this also. I showed up early, I introduced myself, and I was like, "Hey, my name is so and so. Do you need any help like setting up? I'm here a little bit early. And also, do you mind if I take some photos? And then I'll give them to you." And she was like, "Sure." She loved it. So then all the event photos, she started tagging me. And this was like the very early ons of like Facebook, Instagram was just very new. But literally, that is how I started getting clients.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was it.
And clearly, old school networking is not a thing of the past, okay? Because now you are hosting events pretty regularly. You
Yes.
have your big annual events coming up September 10 through 12, Las Vegas, the BU Brands Alive event, which I'm so sad that I'm going to miss this year.
Oh my God. We are like
We're
the
gonna,
worst
we're gonna,
friends.
we're
We're
gonna do it
literally the worst
2027.
friends ever. We're hosting an event on the same fucking day. Yours is the 11th, right?
We are the 12th.
Oh, even worse, because I was going to be like, just come the next day. But yeah, no.
Yeah, we're the 12th, but it's okay because this is a true testament to the power of community and to the power of collaborating as opposed to seeing each other as competition. Like I love when I get to meet women like you that we're doing very similar things and we're literally doing them on the same day,
Yeah.
but we can still show up and support each other. So now events are such a big part of your strategy, whether you're attending events or hosting them yourselves. And they've brought in hundreds of thousands of dollars for
Hundreds
you.
of thousands. And you said something earlier when you were introducing me, and like this has kind of changed. Like I had brought in over $1 million in my brand since I
Mhm.
started my business. So
Mhm.
I think that like one of the things that people underestimate is you can start something with a vision, right? Because part
Mhm.
of the reason I left my job back in the day was because I wanted to be home with my kid. I didn't want to work at night anymore. And I didn't really have that big vision of making money. I wanted to make money. Obviously, I wanted to um, replace my job money. But I honestly never thought, I didn't even know that impact, like helping others, heart led, mission, vision, all that even existed. That was born after.
Yeah.
And I think when I look back and women are like, "But I don't know if I have a big mission," I'm like, you just need to get started.
Yep. I say this all the time. You get clarity by doing, and it could start out so incredibly superficial at first. Oh my gosh, I hate my job. I need to do something different. And then when you finally allow yourself that time and space to play, to figure out like what spaces do you love being in? How do you love communicating? Who do you love communicating with? That's when the mission starts to reveal itself.
Yeah.
That's when
And
your biggest
sometimes
strengths
I
start to
also have
reveal
worked with
itself.
clients that they're like, "I really like what I do, but I don't have that hard lead on whatever, which they're not really my clients anymore, right? Like they're not my type of clients. I like working with people that are hard lead, big missions, all of that. But I think that you get there also by getting to know yourself, right? Everything I do is be you. You get there by self-discovering.
Mhm. And that is an ongoing practice, everyone. It is
Forever.
not just like some overnight revelation that you have of like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what my life is going to look like now. It is an ongoing practice and it takes putting yourself in rooms that push you out of your comfort zone.
Let's talk about rooms because, okay, this is
Let's
where
talk
I
about
wanted to
roles.
take it. This is where I wanted to take it earlier. One of the things that I've noticed, and this is for maybe the woman that, is in that place and in that place where she is spiraling a little bit. And I kind of want to preface it with this. If you are not kind of spiraling ever, are you even building a business? Because I don't think that is true, right? So
I
I
kind of
think that
agree.
like the more I talk to women, the more I connect with really high level women doing really big things. That was one of the biggest validations, if you want to call it, is that this actually is part of the game. The
Yeah.
spiral is part of the game because you're constantly doing things that are new. You're constantly doing things that are more scary. You're constantly learning new skills because we also live in a world that is constantly changing. So, right, with AI, with all the things that happen in the world, like we are constantly innovating. So think about it. Your brain is there to keep you safe. And same equals safe. Known equals safe. So at any time that you are doing something new, call it social media, call it going into a podcast, call it going into a room and introducing yourself, your brain is equaling that to not being safe. So if you're not spiraling, either you're not human or you're not really getting yourself out of the comfort zone. With every new thing that you're going to do in your business is going to require a new skill.
Yeah. It's constantly new levels that you're allowing yourself to put
Yeah.
to expand into. So now going into these events, how do you truly monetize them? And we can take this in either direction. I'm going to leave that up to you about you going to events that you are not the host of and still finding clients, still building the relationships that actually turn into real opportunities as opposed to just another business card that's in your pocket that you throw away that never leads to anything, or you hosting an event that you recently posted something of, I don't know if it's a challenge or something, but you referred to it as a 6-figure trigger event.
Yes.
And so that I would love to dive into if you want to take it in that
Let's
direction.
actually dive into that because that was actually also very successful. We had so many people, you know how like you do the mini chat thing? We had so many people request that training. And the reason, okay, so I'm gonna bring you back into my story, my 2019, 2020, the pandemic happened. So I personally used the pandemic to literally get out of my own way. And I started therapy, I hired a coach, I used money I didn't really have and I did have it. I just didn't tell my husband I wanted to use that money for that. And I put in a credit card because I didn't really know that. Yeah. And I'm not saying you guys have to do that, but I love 0% credit card. So whatever, kill me for it. I will use your free money anytime. But for me at the time, I didn't have the courage to tell my husband all the things I didn't know. Right? So I remember I started therapy, I hired a coach, I hired a business coach, and I went all in on believing that I had what it took and I could learn any skill needed for what I wanted to build. Right? So when the pandemic, when they opened the doors and they let us start doing things, at the time I was doing a lot of Clubhouse, and I had a friend in Clubhouse that we were already hosting rooms together, and that was a little bit of my first practice too, because I had to slow down the way I talk. People were like, we can't understand you. right? Because I had an accent and they were not seeing my body language and all these things that to be honest were so beneficial to who I became. So something that happened was we started hosting this event, and I'm kidding you not, the doors open, I don't know, like on somewhere 2021 in April. And a month later, we're like, oh my God, let's host something. We just need to be around people. And we were still wearing our masks. And I didn't have a plan to monetize this. I had no idea what I was going to do. But about an hour earlier from the event, I was like, your girl needs to make some money. Your girl needs to make some money. And I was like, when everybody asked me, what am I doing right now? Because I was already going to teach something. I'm going to host a masterclass next week.
Okay.
And I'm going to teach whatever. And I didn't have a name. I didn't have anything. And I literally had 17 people from that event sign up for my masterclass that I didn't have a name. I made it up. I had no link. I had no registration page. I literally was a piece of paper like this. I asked everybody for their email. And when I got home, I created a Google Calendar event and I sent them an invitation. And that 17 people, I closed $2,500. And this was 2021. And that was my ever first live launch.
What were you selling? What were you selling at the
I sold Be Your Brand 3-month course when it was an idea. It didn't exist. I didn't have it done. I had nothing. All I had was the name.
Amazing.
We're talking, that was 2021. We're in 2026. When Be Your Brand has become a $1 million brand. But what that became, that idea is what became my first 100K.
So what was the price point at that time to jump into?
I believe that it was $1,500. I gave somebody half off because it was a friend, and I sold 2. So
Amazing.
I sold 2. So I think it was like $1,500. Somebody did payments, and I got my first 3 clients. Inside of what it was a 3-month course. That they became a 6-month course because everybody was like, oh, we want to stay. I was like, sure. And then became what is today the Be Your Brand Academy.
And it's amazing. And what I love about this is that you did not give yourself the time to say, oh, I need to make the landing page first. Oh, I need to make the sign up page first. Oh, I need to figure out all the details first, which I see so many people getting stuck in. And I'm like, no, you need to put it out there. You need to host the thing.
And this is why the 6-figure trigger event is genius. Okay. So I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to do it in a very short period of time. I'm not going to give you the whole run.
Okay.
But this is what I tell my people. If you are going to network, you're going to speak, or you're hosting anything, you need to always have something to invite people to right after the event. I don't care what it is. It does not need to be a whole lot. Now, is there a place for landing pages and stuff like that? Of course. And now I have them. But the people that we're talking about in the first 3 years of business, right? Or how do you follow up with somebody? So what I tell people is these 6-figure trigger events could be workshops, 1-hour workshop. It could be a 3-day workshop. It can be in person. It can be on Zoom. It can be a full-on launch. It can be an ask me anything. It could be something that it could be a networking event. The secret to these 6-figure trigger events is having that golden thread. Right? Because I think, so a lot of people come to me and they're like, okay, I am hosting stuff. I am hosting some, like a recent client came to me and she's like, okay, I am hosting a workshop a month in person. I have never converted a client from it. I get about 3 to 4 people to show up, but I'm getting about 12 to 15 people to actually register, right? So these are all the questions that I'm asking people when they come to me. And I'm like, okay, what is the name of your event? right? So for example, you were, okay, your 6-figure trigger event. Immediately, you want to know what I'm going to teach you.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, if it's going to trigger 6 figures, I want to know what it is. Right? So first thing is like, what's your name? What's the name? What are you doing before the event?
Mm-hmm.
Are you seeding the offer before the event?
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about the offer
Mm-hmm.
before the event? And that's what you are teaching in this 6-figure trigger. And don't let me forget, if this is not a workshop, I'm going to tell you how to do it. In this 6-figure trigger event, it's actually a seed for your offer. Instead of you trying to like, cover like this particular person is doing like a whole wellness thing for 3 hours when she's selling clarity coaching for women in crisis. And I'm like, the person didn't come because she's in crisis, which is what you're actually going to help her with. She came to relax. She came for whatever, like sound bowls and whatever. You're not attracting the woman that is going to buy your final offer.
Yeah.
So the golden thread is the most important part of a 6-figure trigger event, and it can be anything.
Mm-hmm.
It can also be a follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I think one of the biggest things that I learned, and this, I'm going to take you back to that first time, because I had this partner that I was doing these events with, and she was like, how are you converting all these clients? And she wasn't getting any clients from the same event, the same people. And I was like, people don't know what to do. You're still like, you're making it so complicated for people to know what you do. Even though we're standing in front of the same room.
And it's so interesting to see, people wanting to host these events, but still being in a space of, oh, I don't want to sell anyone. I don't want to feel salesy. But ultimately, we have to recognize that as a service. Like, you are showing up to serve, and it's not just in that time frame that they're spending with you. That part that you mentioned of giving them the next step is such a key part of it that is often missed.
So for me, one of the biggest things with selling, because I was pretty scared of selling, right? Like at the beginning, even when I was doing that, I was like, oh, I think though with the 6-figure trigger events, because you know that you're going to deliver, and you're delivering something that they actually want. And I think this is where the big difference is. And I think the reason why people feel so icky, right, is if I'm hosting a wellness event and I'm inviting you to, this is somebody else, by the way, that I consulted for. Like, she lives in this beautiful home and she's hosting these events, right? And like, there is this kind of like, I don't know, almost like a friend kind of like feeling to her events, right? But she wants to coach moms. And I'm like, do you want to coach or do you want to create a community of friends? Both are valid.
Yeah.
You could monetize either or, but you need to understand what are you leading people to. So if you're trying to sell coaching, same concept that the other person, by the way, it's the same concept, usually the same. And you're inviting people, right, to a very relaxing event and whatever. And then all of a sudden they get there and they have a banner with the name of your coaching, the whatever, but you inviting them to a beautiful tea afternoon. Of course it feels icky because you're not being truthful. You are beating around the bush for people to come to your house to an event or to whatever you're hosting it to sell them something they are not there for.
So freaking good. And you do it so beautifully at BU Brands Live. I've had the pleasure of experiencing it in person. And you just a couple minutes ago have said, like, at the end, you need to be able to sell them to something. You need to be able to funnel them into the next step, right? Tell them what that next step is. But the magic of a really great host, a really great event organizer, and you do this so beautifully, is you do not just wait till the ends.
No.
You are nurturing them before the event. And even throughout the event, I could see all of the little seeds that were planted, celebrating the people that are doing the book series with you, doing the gift box giveaways of the people that have like signed up in real time. All of that is subconsciously creating this like FOMO of the people that aren't yet bought into it, of being able to see like, oh, she's in it. Oh, she's in it. Like, wow, like she keeps talking about this
So,
academy and
okay, you
thinking
want to
something
hear
about
something
this.
really funny?
Mhm.
Okay. So when I worked at the bar,
Uh-huh.
we had this thing that we did when people gave us $100 bills.
Okay.
So if somebody would give us $100 bill, the first $100 we would ring a bell. We had this huge bell. We used to ring the bell, and with the thing, we used to and we had whistles and like all this stuff, and we would celebrate them, and we would give them a lanyard. So then we literally, and I remember I worked this job for 16 years. So we had people that wore those lanyards, people that gave us several $100s, and then other people would see. And I remember the first time I hosted the event, I was like, I'm doing that.
That is so beautiful. I love that. I love that connection with your world championship flair bartender past
The reason why
experience.
I just share that is because I
Uh-huh.
think that one of the biggest lessons when I look back is I wish I would have looked back sooner on all the skills I already had.
Hmm.
How I knew how to work a crowd in a beautiful way, not in an icky way. How I knew how to perform. How like I was sharing earlier with you that I've been branding people my whole life. One of the
Yeah.
things is that when I had the bartending school in Argentina, I was in charge of actually going to different bars and introducing the school and recruiting people for our courses. And one of the things that I did is when our students finished, I would sit down with them and I would ask them, okay, where do you want to work? Do you want to work in a hotel? Do you want to work at a speakeasy? Do you want to work at a nightclub? And I would consult with them in what to wear, what kind of drinks to make, literally ideal client avatar.
Yeah.
And I was 19 years old.
Yeah. It's been in your bones, girl. It's been in your bones. But
And the reason why this is so heartfelt for me is because I do see that golden thread in almost every single one of my clients.
That's so
When I start asking questions for them to get clear, and when I ask them why, and when I ask them, what did you do before? And when I ask them, why do you want to help people do this? There is usually a golden thread in how they are presenting it. It may not, I mean, what I'm doing, right, is so different than how I did it when I was 19. But I already had a passion to help people find their own passion.
Mhm. And that's why, like, the way that you come across is so beautiful, so authentic. And ultimately, everything that you just said of like, when you ring the bell, when someone gives you $100, and you're giving them the lanyard and it's encouraging other people to be a part of it, it is because people want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, even if it is not quite clear to them yet what that bigger picture is.
Yeah.
Okay. I know we're at the 40-minute mark. I do have one more question, and then I want you to be able to share about BU Brand Live. You also posted something recently that I want to celebrate for you, even though it's not been the first time that you've done it. But you had a 23K week.
Yes. And it was like,
Now,
what, 2-3 weeks ago?
this comes from her first year of having a 20K year. Okay. And now she's having 23K weeks. So, really quick, in 1 to 2 sentences, what is the breakdown of your offer suite that has allowed you to lock in a 23K
Okay,
week?
so I usually host either a paid or a free workshop. In this particular offer was a 3-day workshop called Confident Money Content. And what we did is that we actually walked people through truly what it meant to create content that created money, which in reality comes down to the strategy, to the events, and also how you follow up. Now, I had 2 events lined up before this confident money content. Actually, I did the other way. I looked at these 2 events that I had lined up, and I put the event a week and a half after. So when I went to these 2 events, every time I was talking to somebody, when I was on stage. So one of these events, I was on stage, and one I wasn't. And one of those, I was an attendee. Okay. So in the one that I was speaking, I had the free offer. By the way, this was a free offer, 3-day challenge that people were able to sign up. And in the other event, I had the QR code in my phone. So every time I was talking to somebody, I was like, oh my God, if you want, I have this training coming up, just sign up and I'll follow up with you. So we had 97 people sign up for this training. Out of those, 3 people sign up for my high ticket offer, which is the Be Brand Academy at $7,800. 1 person paid in full. And I think I broke it down. You can go and see the breakdown exactly of the money, how it came in, because I think transparency is huge. So it was sales plus cash received. Now, this is the cool thing. That was a $23,000 week. Out of that, last week I closed a one-on-one client that was actually on that same confident money content. That was a $5,000 offer, right? So what I'm trying to convey here is I already went into the event with something to offer that led into my main offer. Okay. So that is how you set up your offer suite. But then I also had, I already know, not 97 people sign up. 3 people bought. Everybody else goes on a follow-up list. Either I have a $55 membership, I have one-on-one coaching, I have all these other things, right? So now what we did is we deploy, hey, for the next week only, if you want to get an audit of your brand, you can book one with me, usually $197 for a complimentary, because you came to the Confident Money content back in, I think it was the last week of May or the first week of June. Does that make sense? So I think that one of the things that people are underestimated is this. Number one is preparation meets opportunity. So you are the only one that is going to create opportunities for you. And that is the concept behind the 6-figure trigger event that I tell my clients all the time. One of the clients that signed up for the academy, she's been in the academy, 3 weeks now? She was hosting her first women's circle today. I was like, I don't need you to be perfect. I don't need 20 women in there. You can get 3 women in the room, and that's okay, because you're starting to have conversations.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my God, so good.
So you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have the perfect offer. She actually doesn't even have her offer mapped out yet.
It's so cute.
But she's gathering people that actually want what she wants to offer already. Not a women's circle, to talk about anything. No, women's circle for women struggling with X, Y, and Z.
This is so brilliant. And I know
This is worth millions. This is worth
much
millions.
Is what?
This is worth millions to people.
Yeah. I mean, for you to have that foresight, first of all, of saying, okay, I want to have it's not even just a quick cash injection, because people see that as just a one-off. Everything that you're doing, I can see the intention behind it and how it's setting you up for success for the next thing. You know, you're going to events. So how do you continue to expand on that? How do you continue to build relationships? How do you give the people that you're meeting at those events a clear next step, so that they continue to be served by you, so they continue to be intrigued by your genius and want to buy into the next thing?
And I wanna be so transparent here, because I think that people also have this idea that somebody told me, and this was a client. She's like, "Oh my God, you send a lot of emails," and I was like, "The unsubscribe is right there, girl.
Yeah.
The unsubscribe is right there." And she said, "But I love your emails." I'm like, "Okay, that is telling me something."
Yeah.
What are you thinking that if you email your people, this match is gonna happen? Because I don't know you, but I love getting Lululemon emails. Do I open every single one of them? No.
But you
Do
also
I
haven't
buy?
unsubscribed either.
Huh?
You also haven't unsubscribed either. We get okay, we could totally go on a whole a whole other tangent with this, because I think email marketing is a very interesting conversation to have. But it goes back to like ultimately, like, what is the intention behind it and what is your perspective of selling, right? If
Yeah.
people need to unsubscribe, fine. Like you should be okay with that. We need to stop focusing on the wrong things of, oh my
Yes.
gosh, this person unsubscribed. Good. If they're not your ideal client, why would you want them there anyway?
Like, I don't
Continue
even
to
want
serve and sell to the people that want to be in your world. That's why they're on your list.
For me, for example, like this is, I think I shared this with you earlier this year. This year, we're focusing a little bit more in like Instagram growth and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But because obviously now I've been doing this for a long time,
Mhm.
but I never, ever, ever focus on that. Because what we are doing is we're building our own algorithm, right? Like, which by the way, did you know I trademarked the thing, build your own algorithm?
Amazing. I
Like, I
love
need
that.
to start
I know you
using it,
had
by
that
the way.
training before.
I need to start using it, but I trademark build your own algorithm
Uh-huh.
because I believe that building your own algorithm is you go to an event, you truly build relationships, you're bringing people into your Instagram, into your LinkedIn, into your TikTok, whatever it is, and now you are again seeding your own opportunities instead of like giving somebody else the power to show your content to people you don't even know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of the things that I wanna say, because it's called the CEO Hotline, right? And for me, this process through the last 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, I don't even know. I think the biggest thing has been asking myself every single time, what is the piece of this that I'm not seeing?
Uh-huh.
What is the piece of this that I'm not seeing? Which is the blind spot.
Yeah.
How many people can say, but I actually had a sales call with somebody and she's still thinking about it, right? And I'm like, for me, it's never a no. It's a no now. But
Same.
part of that is she was like, I just need to get my shit together. I know what to do. I just can't get myself to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can't get yourself to do something, a lot of the times is the part that you're not seeing. It's
Yeah.
either a limiting belief or you actually know what to do, but you don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Because if I am telling you, you need to host a workshop, you need to host a networking event. Well, yeah. Do you know how to do all those things?
We are often the ones that are getting in our own way. And again, this goes back to having the right mentorship, having the right community, having the right rooms to have these conversations that allow you to spot those gaps. Ati, I could chat with you all day long. I mean, we could chat all day long, girl. But let's go ahead and give us a couple of sentences of what BU Brand Live is, what people can expect from it, where is it, and how do they get signed?
So, okay, Las Vegas, September 11 and 12. We have a networking night on the September 10th night, and it's personal brand meets personal expansion. I truly, in my heart, believe that your personal brand is the mark that you leave behind in the world. And I don't say this lightly. $1 million personal brand has more to do with how you show up, how you talk about your brand, how you expand into who do you need to become than just the number. That $1 million personal brand, you truly can build very quickly if you are actually expanding, because it's
Mhm.
not just about the strategy, it's about who you're going to become to
Mhm.
do the things that you want to do in the world. And so it's the
Mhm.
perfect mix. You were there last year. It's the perfect mix between a strategy, a speakers, personal development, and really doing it with people that they're dreaming as big or bigger than you.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys are listening to this podcast, if you know anything about me, you know I love being in these spaces. This is why we host very similar events as well. You need to get in the room. Okay. So where can they find more information, Ati?
You can go to my website under events. We also have a local event every month. So if you're in Las Vegas, I know a ton of people come to Vegas. We have a local event the first Wednesday of every month. And I also have virtual event that we do the second Thursday. So if you come to my Instagram, you're going to find that pinned to in my feed. You can come to my website. You can find them there. Just send me a DM and let's chat. Let's talk about visibility. Let's talk about all the things.
You guys, this was such a masterclass of an episode. I am so grateful for your transparency and sharing everything that you shared. If any of you are listening and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, this is my dark year, this is my 20K year, know that this is possible for you. 20K and above weeks, 20K and
Guys,
above
I
days.
think I
It
have
is
a
possible
post
for you.
somewhere on my Instagram. I need to repost it.
Oh,
I went from 20K. I think we made, that was 2019.
ugh.
I think we made 80K. Um, I can't remember what we did on 2020. Don't quote me. But then 2021 was our first 100K year. 2022 we made 200, and then we made 320 in 2023, and then we just never looked back.
Don't look back. That is such a good line to end this on. Don't look back. Know the trajectory is possible for you. Go follow Ati, be a part of her world because you'll be able to absorb that energy all the time. I love Ati. Go to her event. I had the pleasure of experiencing it in person. It was beautiful. Ati, thank you so much for being
Thank you so
here.
much, my
And,
friend. I'm so
we're
grateful
going to be
for you.
chatting very soon again anyway.
Yes, I love you.
And if you have not yet, make sure you follow the CEO Hotline. Give us a rating. That helps us to expand it beyond. If you're following on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, share it with your friends, tell all the people, get your tickets, and we will see you next week.